Hi, folks. Tim Forshey here again. Statistically speaking, we're far more likely to suffer a home break in or a home invasion than we are to be involved in a shootout outside of our home because we spend more time in our home, and our home is where all the good stuff is, right? But a lot of folks think that a gun on the nightstand is all the home security that they need. So let's take a look at this situation and this problem a bit closer. Let's talk about the top 5 things not to do during a home invasion break in. Number 1, don't die. Don't get hurt. This boils down to tactics and self defense protection. I'll bet that most of you watching this do, in fact, have some sort of a home defense firearm available for a worst case scenario of somebody breaking into your home in the dead of night. That's great. I do too. But that is a pretty bad idea if that is your only idea. Don't you think it would be better if both literally and figuratively that was your last option instead of your first and only option? By the way, you have that gun secured in a quick access safe, correct? So that there'll be no unauthorized children or grandchildren or nosy neighbors or neighbor kids or cleaning staff or, God forbid, a burglar that makes entry to your home would be able to get access to that gun. How about you getting access to that gun before you're awake enough? You're still in dreamland and you can't get access to that gun. How about you getting access to that gun when you're not awake enough and you're not out of dreamland far enough to be trusted with a loaded gun in your hand? That's an issue as well, and probably the most common issue, actually. You wouldn't go to bed with your front and rear doors to your house just flapping in the breeze, right? Just inviting intruders and inviting danger into your home. You're going to lock your doors. Well, let's start there. Have you upgraded those locks? Do you have good solid core bolts that actually extend well into the frame of the doorway? How about the hinges on your doors and windows? Have you replaced those? Those little 1-inch long brass screws that come from Home Depot, have you replaced those with 3-inch long case hardened screws? That's likely to cost you like 30 or 40 bucks and a couple of hours work, and it'll make your home far more secure. Do you have a dog that will alert you to the presence of an intruder, as it probably also deters them? Even if it's a small dog, that bark is something they don't want to deal with. Do you have motion sensor lights on the exterior of your home? Have you cut back the shrubbery to prevent bad guys being able to use it to mask their nefarious plans as they snuggle up to your hidden window? Do you have a burglar alarm? Is it monitored off-site? Do you have a video surveillance system? Is it visible to people approaching your house? Can they see there's a video surveillance system? Is it backed up to the cloud? Do you have shatter-resistant film applied to all the exterior glass in your house? Do you have a safe room? Do you even have a master bedroom with a steel door and a steel door frame and a bolt? Last but not least, yes, a good and appropriate home defense firearm is never a bad idea. But remember, most home invasion burglaries involve more than one bad guy. So always be on the lookout for the one that you haven't seen yet. That's how we follow Rule 1. Stay alive. Rule 2. Once the smoke clears, I want the cavalry coming as soon as possible. That requires a 911 call, but you should not. So please, number 2, do not call 911 yourself. There is no Fifth Amendment protection for those conversations. And I've had clients blurt out horrendous things in their adrenaline-fueled post-shooting mindset, which they would have never even thought of saying in their normal mindset. You do not want that recorded, and you do not want a jury, prosecutor, and judge to hear those things because they won't know that it ain't normal, and they don't understand the physiology behind your statement at the time that you made it. So have someone else call on your behalf. Your spouse, your partner, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your eldest child, your neighbor, anybody but you. If you're a complete hermit and you live by yourself and you're a member of Safehouse Defense, we'll call 911 for you. Again, I want the cavalry on its way as soon as possible, but not with your voice summoning the cavalry on that 911 tape. Again, number 2, don't you call 911. Number 3, don't talk to the police. Shut up. Okay, that's too simple, right? So let's flesh it out just a bit. When in any doubt whatsoever, shut up. And you probably should have some doubt. Did I mention to shut up? No? Shut up. Yes, it is correct. A simple declarative statement about you being the good guy, them being the bad guy or bad guys, stating that you were in fear for your life and your family's lives at the time that you had to use lethal force, pointing out evidence that could be otherwise missed, pointing out witnesses that could be otherwise missed. Those are all excellent things to say. Okay. Then, of course, ask for access to your attorney as soon as possible and then shut up. But here's the problem. How many of us are capable of coolly and calmly stating that and only that? I always say that every client I've ever represented has the right to remain silent, but how many of them had the ability to? And sadly, it ain't 100%. Lots of us are going to find that we suddenly get a bad case of verbal diarrhea. It is way better, in my opinion, to say nothing than to say too much or to say the wrong thing. You can't take it back once you say it. When in doubt, shut the hell up. So again, number 3, shut up. It's an easy one. Number 4, don't not have your legal and psychological plans in place before the incident occurs. After is simply too late. I have lots of stories about clients who called after the shooting and said that they were now ready to buy that shooting insurance plan that I was offering. Sorry, too late. Do you have a lawyer lined up? Do you have a counselor lined up? If you're religious, do you have a priest, a rabbi, a minister, or an imam lined up? Are they pro-gun or anti-gun? Who's going to watch your kids for the next several days during this ordeal? Do you have someone to manage the media blitz that's going to happen? Because these days, that's going to happen. Do you have enough money or equity stashed away in your life to take care of your bond and your bail bond premium? Don't forget, you have to post the balance of the bond in regard to collateral. Let's say it's a $100,000 bond. Typically, that means you'll have to pay a $10,000 fee, and then you'll have to post collateral that will secure the remaining $90,000 of that bond. That usually means home equity. Do you have home equity? Do you have vehicle equity? Do you have the actual cash that you can do it with? These are things that you need to figure out because, again, you won't have time to figure them out then. Last but not least, number 5, don't forget to get training and education in advance to make it A, less likely that you're going to fall prey to the situation in the first place, and B, to make it easier for your lawyer to explain to the state and or the jury that you are not some bloodthirsty crazy person, but rather that you spent hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars preparing yourself to be able to avoid this situation that unfortunately finally did happen. Over the last many years of study and diligent training, you did everything by the book until this happened, in which case the worst case scenario required that you actually had to use lethal force for the first time in your entire life, despite all the training and preparation. That's how you want it to be stated to a jury. Just to sum up, this is something we need to take seriously, folks. Just a few weeks ago, within the last month, my very own next door neighbor had an attempted home invasion. Her husband's away on business. It was about 10:30 at night, and some person who we assume was a deranged homeless person, he was never caught, attempted to kick down her front door. She did not have any training, did not have any planning, did not have a firearm, had 2 young children at home, and her whole way of dealing with this was hiding in the closet and praying while she was on the phone with 911. Thank God it worked out for her. Her husband was gone, as I said. Her husband and she and I have since had conversations about getting her training, having a safety security consultant come in and review the house plans. But it does happen. These things actually happen. They happen in the nicest neighborhoods. So again, as I said, we're already coming up with a plan for that family. Let's make sure we have one for yours as well. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you next time.